Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another Options in Play video update. So this idea that I'm going to talk about came up today during the VTF, like during today's action, and it's not something like unique to today specifically. It's something that's kind of been playing out over the last couple days now. Is this um, scenario of bullish expectations, right? So like I'm looking at bull going into quarterly reports. I'm looking at like bull ideas, bull strategies on stocks that have had like really great numbers recently. So maybe they crushed it last quarter, they crushed it the last couple quarters, close to the top end of their range. But what's happening is it's like bullish strategies and strong numbers are are being sold into, and you have like bearish price action with like bullish overall leaning strategies. All right, so I know that sounds a little weird and kind of confusing, but Tesla is a perfect example, and even like Microsoft, which we'll talk about in a sec, is kind of a nice kind of playing out, and actually some of the other tech names too. So what I mean by this is going into earnings this quarter, I feel like myself, maybe a lot of you were bullish on Tesla, right? Because the stock was consolidating. Scroll up here. So the stock was consolidating above most of its moving averages, right? It come off a couple fantastic quarters in a row, delivering numbers that exceeded expectations, and it's Tesla, right? I mean, it's like a momentum stock. It seemed like it was quiet, it was consolidating, it was ready to run. And what happened was it had this false breakout, and then it had essentially 4 to 5 days of straight selling into earnings, right? So it's a little unusual when expectations are for strong numbers. A lot of people are positioned positively or more bullishly, but yet the price action just keeps deteriorating. So you see bearish action, bearish action, bearish action day after day after day after day going into earnings, right? So it's like this just giant like red flag to me when I see like what should be good earnings, and they were ended up being good earnings, right? They beat across the board, but you have this weak price action into like high expectations, and then when they reported had like kind of a muted move, and then it just immediately went back to selling, right? So you have kind of like a tough setup in on both ends where you have weak price action into earnings, but you're expecting a good number, so it's a little bit tougher to like be bearish into earnings, and then you have good earnings, but then you don't have any follow through, so it's tough to be bullish after earnings, right? So that's like the what I say, kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, because expectations are for positive numbers, you get positive numbers, but there's no follow through, and then it just gets back to selling, right? So it's very tough because we're seeing it play out on a lot of different like tech names specifically, but all sorts of different like momentum driven names too. Excuse me. That we have this type of dynamic, and that's why like I've been a little bit more cautious with earnings. Like I mean, I'm still looking at them, and I'm still trying to like pick my spots here and there, but for some of like the big names especially, right, you can see like Microsoft just steadily sliding lower lows, lower highs, losing moving average support. So it's like going into earnings tomorrow night, I mean, you're expecting good numbers out of Microsoft. They've had beat and raise quarters like the last year consistently, right? So you're expecting good numbers, but just steadily sliding, very weak, more bearish price action into what most people are expecting to be a good quarter, right? It gives you pause. It makes you a little bit more cautious because you don't necessarily have the confidence that the numbers are going to get rewarded, and that's really what it comes down to when you're playing options for earnings, right? You want to have confidence that the stock is going to move more than what the options are priced in. You want to see a big move to like beat that priced in earnings band, right? So if the stock is saying one thing, fundamentals are saying another, then that kind of create like a choppy, confusing setup for earnings, and that's why I've been a little bit more hesitant doing earnings as of just up until this point. If I start to see that pattern change, right? So if I see like good price action, maybe into earnings, right? If we get a rebound, or if I see like disproportionately large moves on earnings, so say like stocks just drop, 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 then have a huge rally after beating, then that would be encouraging to me. That would for me would say like, okay, I want to like maybe get more focused on earnings now. I want to like put a little bit more size on earnings now. But until I see that, I'm still being very cautious. I'm being very selective, picking my points, and I might be keeping the overall size down a little bit until I see something change. All right. So I wanted to highlight that, kind of like walk through it a little bit because it was something that came up and we were talking about today in the VTF, and I think it's something that's really important to recognize right now is that like sometimes there's all these mixed signals and you just don't want to just plow ahead like full steam ahead, because if you see mixed signals, then that can mean mixed action, and mixed action is not necessarily a good thing for options. All right. That being said, it is going to be a huge week. I am still optimistic that there's going to be some amazing action. I'd be surprised if there wasn't, especially Wednesday and Thursday with the lineup that we have in store for us. So I'm looking forward to some busy trading. All right. So if you like this video and you're looking for more information on earnings trading or option swing trading, please follow up with the link in the description of the video for more information on options to play. Hope you have a wonderful night. Stay well, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.